we're going to go through what are called ways of finding central tendency. Okay? These are all ways of finding kind of what the numbers are telling you when you have a group of numbers. Okay? A group of numbers is sometimes called a data set. Alright? And so these are all measures of the data, ways of looking and finding the middle of the data. So that's why these are called measures of central tendency. So one way to find the middle of a group of numbers is to use the mean. Another word is the average. And I think you're somewhat familiar with that way of finding the middle. You add all the numbers together and then divide by the number of numbers that you added. So you can find the middle value. Okay? That's sometimes called the average or the mean. Add up all the numbers and then divide by the number of numbers. The mode is another way to find kind of where the middle of the data, or what is occurring the most often. It's the number that occurs the most often in the data set. So if you have a group of numbers and the number 5 appears the most often in that group of numbers, then the mode is 5. You can have more than one mode. If 2 different numbers in the data set occur the same number of times, and it's the most, then you have 2 modes. Or you can have null mode. When would you have null mode?
When each number only occurs once in the data line.
Okay, so each number only occurs once, or each number only occurs twice, or they all occur the same number of times. If they all occur the same number of times, whether it be once, twice, whatever, then you have no mode. Then you don't have a way of finding the middle value or the central tendency using the mode. You'd have to use like the mean, or maybe the median. The median is kind of like the median in a road. You know what the median in a road is?
The middle thing that keeps you swerving in the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's that middle barrier. It's called the median. The median is the middle number. And you find it by putting all the numbers in order. So in order from least to greatest, or greatest to least. And then finding the middle value of the numbers. Okay? Now, look at this example. If you only have 2 numbers, so you have an even number of numbers, and then you have to find the middle value, it's not listed, is it? If there's an odd number of numbers, then it'll be listed. That middle value will be the middle one. But if it's the even number of numbers, then you take the 2 middle values and find the average of them. Add them together and divide it by 2. So you could add 84 plus 87, and then divide it by 2, and you get 85.5. That's the middle value. And that's the median then. Okay? You can also find the range of numbers, the difference between the highest and the lowest. The range is take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number, and the answer is the range of numbers. So what's the range of the numbers? You find the difference between the highest and the lowest. And then all of those are different ways of measuring the central tendency. Okay? That's the number that best represents the middle. So when you have a group of numbers, the number that best represents the middle is called the best measure of central tendency. Okay? Any questions so far? All right, there's another term that you need to know. Let's see if it's in the notes here. Nope. And that is an outlier. So write this one down. Outlier. Okay? The outlier is a number that doesn't fit the rest of the data. A number that doesn't fit the rest of the numbers. Okay? So, let's say that you were going to find the average temperature for 1 week. Okay? The average temperature for the week. And on Sunday, it was 70 degrees. Oops. 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? And then on Monday, a cold front moved in and it dropped to 30 degrees. Oh no, that never happens here, does it?
No.
Wow, Minnesota,
And then
right?
32 degrees, and then 34 degrees, and then 31 degrees, and then 30. Ooh, it goes all the way up to 34 degrees again.
Yay.
Wow,
Let's
80
see, that's
degrees.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then back down to 3 below. 28 degrees.
Below 0. 34 doesn't have a degree symbol.
Okay? Oh, sorry. So, the average temperature for the week. How would you find the mean?
Add them all and then you divide them by 6.
Yeah, divided by, not 6, there's 6 days in a week.
No, the number.
There's 7, isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 days in a week. Okay, so you add them all up and divide by 7. So do that. So this is 100, 132, 166, 197, 259 divided by 7. I'm going by, I hope you're right, Katie. 259. So what was the average temperature? 37 degrees was the average temperature? What's wrong with that?
It's not even in the thing.
Yeah, did it feel like 37 degrees?
Maybe.
Like as an average? Yeah, it was a pretty nice week. No, it wasn't. It was extremely cold. What happened?
Well, because, there was one big number and then the rest are really small. So
Yeah.
maybe that's kind of like not the best strategy.
Not the best. Good. No, not the best what? Use the term now.
Central tendency.
Right. That's not the best measure of central tendency. Because of, what do we call this number?
Outlier.
That's called the outlier. It doesn't fit the rest of the data. Okay? So this is with the outlier. What would it be without the outlier?
We'll see.
30.
So just subtract 70 from this. Subtract 70 and then divide it by 6. Ooh. So then that equals 31.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Isn't that a better measure of central tendency? Yeah. Yep. So without the outlier, what you have to do is write 31.5 without the outlier. So that you note that this is the average temperature, the mean temperature without the outlier. Okay? How would you find the median? How would you find the median, Katie?
You put all the numbers in order, and then you take the middle one.
Yep.
Multiple that one.
So then it's 28, 30, 31, 32, 34, 34, and 70, right? And what's the middle value? 32. Is that a pretty good
Get her done.
central measure of central tendency? Yeah, it's pretty close to the mean without the outlier. Okay? So you could say then, this is how you use this language. You say, well, the median is a pretty good measure of central tendency. Okay? Now, what's the mode? 34 occurs twice. Yep. And the range, what was the temperature range? Good. So it was a range of 42 degrees. Yep. Any questions about analyzing data? Yes, I will go back to you. Okay? All right.